what are the various sources of information that you project and others project at the table that convey information?
Well, there's several different things. There's the ones that are conscious, and then there's the ones that are subconscious, right? Like on the conscious level, it might be something someone says, right? You ask them a question and they say, oh, you shouldn't call me here. You should. So there's the verbal tells. There's also the more, subconscious stuff, body posture, right? The eyes, the throat, the pulse, various things that are, less controllable. I find I use a combination of both to try to gain information. But generally, when I have somebody more comfortable, they give off more. Everyone has a different approach. Phil Ivey likes to intimidate. I go the other way. I want my opponents to be relaxed so that they'll give me more in that regard.
So Phil Ivey likes to perturb the system, like mess with it to see what comes out.
I think Phil has an aura about him where he wants you to know that he's watching you. Be afraid, be uncomfortable, because when you're uncomfortable, I got you, right? And that's sort of his shtick where he, and people do. Like when you sit at a table with Phil Ivey, it's intimidating.
He likes to rule by fear and you like to rule by, love?
That's a really good way to put it. I never had anyone put it like that, but it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Fear Phil Ivey. And then with me, it's fine. Don't worry. I'll take your money, but you're going to enjoy it. It's great.
So that's what the talking at the table is about, is get him to be relaxed and get some of that gray area between the conscious and the subconscious to reveal something.
Yeah. There's that too. And also just, and this is just part of who I am anyway. Like I like to talk to people, but one of the byproducts is the more I know about you, the more I likely know about how you think about different situations, right? So what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a lawyer. I defend criminals. Okay. So this guy probably spends a lot of his time twisting the truth, trying to find, and then you already have a mindset of like, this guy might be more likely to bluff, or he's probably comfortable doing that. Very subtle things like that.
And you start to pick up cues on what nervousness looks like for this person, what the nervousness communicates, all that kind of stuff. So we're talking about physical tells here.
Yeah, physical tells is a secondary thing. I was more specific of like player profiling, right? And sort of understanding the type of mind that I'm dealing with, right? So again, somebody who's a lawyer is used to trying, is fine with being deceptive as part of a game, right? Whereas maybe somebody's a Sunday school teacher and, they don't feel comfortable. Maybe they think bluffing might be dishonest, right? So they're less likely to try some shenanigans against you. So, and then the other thing too is what type of person is this in terms of their, view on life, right? Are they positive? Do they feel like things go their way, or they're not, right? There's those people that always, well, of course I lost. I always lose with this hand. And those types of people you can manipulate, because when a card comes that you don't have them beat, right? But you can pretend, because they'll believe it. They're like, of course you beat me. So you bet all your chips against them, knowing that you can scare them because they already feel like they're going to lose.
The inherent, like the cynicism.
Exactly.
Cynicism is easier to play against because you can convince them that their cards suck.
Yeah, when somebody believes that they're a loser or they're unlucky, right? And that bad things happen to them always and they never catch a break, well, you can just help them make it true.
What do you think about the Rounders Teddy KGB when he does the Oreo tell? Do players at the high level communicate that kind of stuff? Do you think it's realistic to be able to have a tell like this that's partially subconscious?
So first of all, I love Brian Koppelman, who made the film. And I think what they were going for is something obvious to the general
visually,
public, right? Like, okay, it's very clear. He eats the cookie, he doesn't eat the cookie, and it means one or the other. Yeah. At the highest levels, something that, blatant, you're not going to find. You're going to find a lot more subtle things, maybe with posture or timing or, different things like that. But at the lower levels, you might see with a lot of people when they're in a hand and they've bet, whether they drink water in the hand is going to tell you something, generally speaking.
It's such an intimate part of the human experience that I feel like if you have food, you're going to reveal something about yourself through the way you eat. Sure. I feel like that's a dangerous thing to have at the table.
Well, the thing is, generally speaking, people don't eat food in the middle of a hand. Like they're not going to bet and then just like grab a burger, right? What they will do though is, they've bet and it's up to you. And then whether they're uncomfortable or they do it unconsciously, they just want to do something to make themselves look relaxed or whatever. And, they grab a water where they don't really need it in that moment, but they're trying to take your mind off of the situation.
So they in the movie wanted to show a simplistic version of something that does happen, something that's visually sort of clear.
Yeah, because I think one of the things Rounders got right is that it's a poker movie, right? But you don't have to be great at poker or really understand poker to enjoy the movie. And that, Oreo cookie tell, like everyone gets that. They're like, okay, that's simple. If he would have went with something more subtle, like licking your lips or looking to the right, or I think it might have been lost on the audience.
And they didn't actually explicitly say that was a tell, I don't think.
I thought they did everything to let you know, right? With the music and the slow motion, and he's staring at it, and he's like, aha.
Yeah, but they didn't actually say, this is an obvious tell. Like Matt Damon's character
at
didn't
the very end of it,
Yeah.
After he says, how the fuck did you lay that down?
The
a monster, right? And he's like, he's like, you're not hungry? Not hungry, KGB?
Yeah,
He's like, I keep on, but so he sort of references it, and then he takes the cookies, he notices, he's like, he got me, and he breaks the rack of cookies.
Well, probably if you had that kind of tell on him, you wouldn't, and Matt Damon's character would not reveal.
Well, he says in the movie, he says, normally I wouldn't reveal a tell, but I don't have that much time. Like I've got to rattle him some way.
Yeah.
So that was one way to do that.
How hard is it to do that in a KGB accent, to lay down a monster in those situations? In general, how hard is it to lay down a really strong hand, just psychologically?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's incredibly difficult for the vast majority of people. Part of what makes professionals really, really good is recognizing a situation that's very, very dangerous, and they need to, jump ship. Like what happens to a lot of players is you get married to a hand. Let's say you have pocket aces, which is the best possible hand, right? But the board runs out where it's 7, 8, 9, and then there's a jack, and then there's a 6. It's like you have a great hand to start, but you don't anymore. So one of the difficult things for the average player is, once they've put money in, cutting their losses and saying, okay, let's move on to the next hand. It's a very, very difficult thing for a lot of people.
At every stage of like pre-flop, all the way through, be able to just make a decision at that moment.
So essentially not being attached. Okay, I've already put in $40,000 in this pot, and this guy's bet another 20. Well, I got to get my 40 back, right? Except, in some cases you have to reassess individually this situation and realize, all right, well, this is a bad investment, so I got to cut my losses.